People of the internet, I have spent many a sleepless night wondering why comedy is not funny right now. I have looked at all the theories, played out all the scenarios, considered the reasons and the answers that are given to us out there. But never, ever did I consider that the audience, me and you, are too dumb for comedy. Well, today we are going to look at this article and find out why me and you are too dumb for comedy right now, and hopefully we can be enlightened and comedy will be funny again. So right now, we're going to look at this article entitled, "Maybe You're Just Not Funny. Internet Reacts to Damon Wayans Saying He Has No Desire to Do Stand-Up Because the Audience is Too Dumb Right Now," by Ankashra Mishra. Sorry if I messed that up. That's a hard name to say. On March 4th, 2025, Damon Wayans was invited on the Big Boy TV podcast where he shared his thoughts on the current scenario of the stand-up comedy space. When the comedian was asked by Kurt Alexander if he wants to return to stand-up, Wayans responded that he doesn't. He said, quote, "It's just the audience is too dumb right now. My stand-up ain't fodder for someone to pick apart. It's like, quote, here's a joke. You don't like it. Don't laugh. Keep moving. Quote, people weren't analyzing Richard Pryor's material. It was funny or it wasn't funny. It's totally different now, man. Now they think they have some say," end quote. Well, I mean, your audience does have a say if something's funny or not. You can do whatever material you want, present it, but how people respond is totally up to them. I just think there's some like generational thing where this comedy that you did, that you grew up into, the comedy movies, that's not connecting with the generation below us, right? I grew up in that, but also I don't find a lot of this comedy you're doing funny, So I think this is just a case of, every generation looks down and goes, "Oh, you don't do things the right way. You're lazy. You just want to live off somebody else's paycheck and not do anything." It's one of those things like, "Well, back in my day, I walked 10 miles in the snow." You know what I mean? It's just one of those. And every generation needs something different because it's a different generation. It has different influences. It has different world experiences. And I think that's what it is, because like, I don't find any of this, I want, many of you probably agree that I should go to a doctor, but I'm like serious. I want to go to be like a laugh doctor and be like, I haven't laughed. I haven't laughed at a comedian. Is there something wrong with me? You know what I mean? That's what I want to do, because it actually makes no sense. I should laugh. You should laugh, but we're not laughing. I think comedy, comedy is a form of storytelling, right? Storytelling has been around since the beginning of time. It is the biggest and the best form of communication. It just is storytelling. It's in our marketing. It's in our movies. It's in our music. It's in our sports. It's everywhere. Everything is storytelling. And I think for the past generation here, with Damon Wayans' generation, the storytelling that spoke to that generation was stand-up. But I think with the introduction of the internet and moving away from more in-person things, stuff like that, comedy has shifted, and you see a lot of internet stuff is speaking more to the generation, and it is what it is. Let's continue here with another. The comedian explained, quote, "They're being programmed to be offended. When I was doing stand-up in the club, people were laughing. It's just now it's different. You have to have a conversation. You can't make a proclamation. There's no such thing as shock comic anymore," end quote. Well, I mean, how can you be shocked by anything with the internet? That's what I'm saying. The influences on the generation, I'm the one below him. So I'm like a mix of, I'm right in the middle right now. I'm in the middle. So I'm influenced by both and also by my own. And so I get some of this and I get some of that, but then there's parts of my generation that will always be there. And I just hate that it's programmed. It's just the cultural, the culture after COVID, everything was super heightened, and I I have no idea, but it's just been rough after COVID. Everybody, I think, might just be angry. That's what it seems to me. But anyways, further in the clip, Damon Wayans agreed that he got out of doing stand-up comedy at the right time. He added that he isn't impressed by what the comedians of this generation are doing on stage. More confirmation. Damon Wayans, many of you might not know his stand-up, but being a part of his generation's like storytelling form, comedy, right? Major Pain, man. Banger. I'm not gonna just like change, like try and see from one side. I can't deny when I saw Major Pain. Oh man, that movie was. Oh man, I still to this day that scene where the kid gets a nightmare and he comes out and they ask Major Pain to help him. Woo, that was good. Come on, go talk to him. Go talk to him. Anyways, man, it was good, man. I'm not really privy to Damon Wayans' stand up, but Major Pain was huge for me. Yeah, super huge. Like I would never forget who Damon Wayans is because of that movie. We have a tweet here. I'll expand it. It just says, "Oh, Damon Wayans reveals he has no desire to do stand up again, and says people today are programmed to be offended while highlighting how modern comedians keep doing the same take on the same jokes." This is true. I don't know if we can watch this. It'll probably get copyrighted. Yeah, I'm not even going to risk it. You can watch it there if you'd like. We just read it. Damon Wayans clip went viral and received more than 330K views and 6K likes at the time of publishing this article. Nietzsche's reacted to the clip with one of them commenting, "Cope, maybe you're just not funny." Uh-oh. It's the honey badger. Some of Nietzsche seemingly disagreed with Wayans, claiming that people aren't dumb, but have a higher standard set for good comedy. Some brought comedian Drewski into the conversation and appreciated his thriving career. I think this is the generations fighting against the future. They're fighting for the future, I mean. They're fighting how to shape the future. At some form, all like this is like all art forms die. Or they just become a niche and the tradition is carried on by a few. Like I grew up, and in high school we had swing dancing, like we had a big swing meet, and it went on for like 25 years. And I did swing dancing for over 20 years. And now it's just like, it's so niche now. But I guess my generation, a lot of the 90s, the punk, all the different cultures, like culture was like all the different cultures, like you just wanted to be a part. Like people literally, when I was growing up, and I don't know how it is now growing up because I'm not growing up anymore like that, but we would all just be in like just groups of different, like some, there'd be punk rockers, then there would be like the jocks. It's like, well, yeah, it's always been that way. Of course it's the same, but it just felt, when you become an adult, it just doesn't feel that way anymore. I just wear sweatpants, I used to always care about, like, oh, I was a little bit of a rocker, but like skateboarder, Oh man, it's so funny. Kids, I tell you, you just don't know till you do. Or those people have higher standards of what makes good comedy. Maybe the older comedians are telling the same tired jokes and are offended we don't find them funny like the previous generation did, commented an ex-user. There it is. Where it says, there's another quote here, quote, "Drewski is thriving now as a comedian because he knows where to draw the line with his comedy. A few of you aging vets can learn a thing or two from him," added another. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something right now that I just got from that quote. I didn't know who Drewski was. I've been really focusing my studies and my intellectual time on the Rogan sphere and finding out the answers that I'm seeking. But now, you have to be open. And if Drewski is what they're saying is the next generation's comedian, I think we have to talk about Drewski a little bit in another video. But anyways, it's nice to get a lead. It says, I want to know why they can't recognize, another quote, sorry. I want to know why they can't recognize the pattern and see that they're just old now. I'm sure when they were young, they rolled their eyes at the aging comics that made outdated jokes for their time. Can they see that it's just the circle of life with every generation? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's cool. I'm glad. You know what? Hey, if the younger generation can kind of see that, I mean, that's already a good step, just learning that things are cyclical, It's just the circle of life. Anyways, and then continuing on in the article. Meanwhile, others agreed with Wayans and mentioned that he is completely true. Quote, it's safer online versus saying it out loud. Folks will say the most insensitive troll and rage bait comments all day on any social media platform. But once those words hit the eardrum, the audience is offended and fake outrage about canceling a legend who's obviously still funny, end quote. Reply to fourth user. Let's take another quote here. This is the same for sports, but many won't admit it. We pick everything apart to point it's not enjoyable anymore. Chimed in a fifth comment. Well, yeah, that's what humans do, man. Humans are very predictable. We love drama. We love overanalyzing everything. We love being right. Right? But a lot of people don't want to admit that. I don't think we pick things apart. Well, yeah, we do, I guess, until it's not enjoyable. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes. But I think there's generally, like, everybody has, like, general interests. Like, if you look at, like, World of Warcraft, right? That community, like, shreds everything. Any gaming community. Like, there's, like, in gaming, there's all these just, like, natural things that play out. There's always some point with a new game. I experienced it with a game I started playing like a couple weeks ago. And it's like 3 weeks to a month in, and there's already the Reddit post. This community is so toxic. And it's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. It's just how it goes. Here's the problem with humans, though. The point I was trying to make is we just don't admit these things. The faster we could admit these things, we could like go on, get over our egos a little bit. I understand so, but like we go on and admit that we could work together just a tiny bit, just spend a little bit of our 24 hours, years, months, days, weeks, whatever, just helping humanity like move forward, or we all come together to make sure the water's clean. You know what I mean? Some kind of cooperation, but it doesn't have to be 100%. But we won't admit it. Why? Because we're the ego and we're self-interested. And being self-interested people that we are, we must protect ourselves. And admitting fault that we haven't even committed but we know is inherent to humans is still seen as weakness. And thus, our self-interest is in danger. And our preservation must be saved at all costs. Another quote here. He got up there and said the truth and nothing but the truth. Damn, my favorite comics, Paul Moon, Patrice O'Neill, Corey Holcomb, Eddie Griffith, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, the best to ever do it. Okay. End quote there. Who's Chris? Real Deal Chris. I don't know who that is, but it says Damon Wayans says he doesn't believe in cancel culture. Papa's House is back with a new episode, and in living color legends Damon Wayans and Tommy Davidson reunite. Laughing my beep, beep, beep. Okay, and it says here, Damon Wayans' episode of the Big Boy TV podcast comes days after the comedian sat down with Shaquille O'Neal on the Big Podcast with Shaq. In the February 26th episode, he talked about the prevalent cancel culture in the world of comedy. This is the same, like Joe Rogan's on this trip too, where nobody likes his shit anymore, right? Nobody just like, he's like off in his own little fantasy land, and like nobody went with him. And it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault, and it's cancel culture's fault, and it's the weather's fault, and it's politics' fault, and it's music's fault. It's just like, you notice that he just referenced it, like they just don't make it. Like he's always, they don't make it like they used to. Oh yeah. Anyways, it's just crazy. Is this what getting old is about? I just feel like this is getting old. Oh, they don't. Yeah. Anyways, Wayne said that he believes people still want to laugh because everyone struggles to get sigh of relief in the present time. He added that the comedy today no longer has a sense of unity about how stupid we are. I can agree with that. I wish people would admit, yeah, that's what I was just saying. People can't admit that we're stupid. They just can't do it. So it creates all this drama protecting that admission from ever coming out, Okay, Wayne says, quote, "It's all in the presentation. If you present it right, people are gonna laugh. They can't help but laugh because the characters are funny. They're not offensive. If you do it with love, you get the laugh," end quote. In the podcast, Damon Wayans claimed that he is confident that In Living Color specials could prove that the audience wants to see comedy where one can crack jokes about sensitive topics without being offensive. Damon Wayans had some good points, and then he had, I think if you meet in the middle, something needs to happen in comedy. I think the bigger thing is maybe either comedy is shifting, or these comedians, they never adapted to change. They got too arrogant and stuck in their ways, refused. Like Joe Rogan is stuck in like 89, 90. Like everything he does, the way he presents comedy, everything, he's stuck right there. In the 80s and in the early 90s, all the body humor and the fart jokes and all that, he is stuck right there. And he ain't never changed his comedy from that moment. Everything he has to do with all of his specials have some kind of sexual stuff. Well, I guess you could say that a lot of comedy. Well, I won't make that point, but you know what I mean. But anyways, I don't think we're too dumb for comedy. I think comedy is too dumb for everybody else, and it needs to figure out how to make itself relevant and special enough for people to want to invest their time in it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you want to troll me? Either way, put it down there. See you later.